The reason home equity lines of credit have become such a buzzword and so many people are taking these days is because a lot of people over the last 4 or 5 years have these low first mortgage rates between 2.5% and 5%, and they don't want to touch their first mortgage. So they want to get a second mortgage. And the problem is right now is that home equity lines of credit are based on prime rate. Prime rate right now is 8.5%. Usually your home equity line of credit is going to be prime rate plus. So it's going to be plus a quarter, plus one, plus a half, whoever you're dealing with. Let's use plus one. So if you had a home equity line of credit that was prime plus one, it would be 8.5 plus one. So your rate would be 9.5% on that money you're paying back. Our home equity line of credit is interest only for the first 10 years. If you take out a home equity line of credit, say you take it out for $200,000, you get a checkbook. It says here you can write checks out up to $200,000. You only pay on the money you write the checks for. So if I only take $10,000 out of $200,000, I'm only paying prime plus one on that $10,000. You have the ability to take money off that line of credit for 10 years. After the 10 years, the line of credit closes. You can't take money off it anymore. And then you have 10 years to pay it back at a fully amortizing principal and interest payment. For the first 10 years, your payment's interest only. You can make more of a payment, but your payment's interest only.
So basically you can pay it off all within 10 years and just keep juggling
the money. If you're somebody who goes through cash flow issues or cash comes in sometimes, or you want to make investments and you want to take money off the line and use it and then pay it back, and then it'll cost you less money. Because if you take out and there's a difference, right? There's a home equity line of credit and a home equity loan. A home equity loan is different from a line of credit. A home equity loan is an actual second mortgage. So if I did a home equity loan for $200,000, I get all $200,000 at closing, and I get the payment on $200,000 at closing. So that's the biggest difference between a line of credit. Line of credit, you're only paying when you're borrowing for that moment, and you can pay it back. On a home equity loan, if I borrow $200,000 and I pay $150,000 back, I'm still making a payment based off of $200,000 until it's paid off.
Okay.
You may pay it off early, but until it's paid off. Does that make sense? Were you seeing it asked about a lot compared to first mortgages?
I'm seeing it asked a lot about, yes, people are indecisive if they want to do a HELOC is what they come up and tell me, or if they want to do a cash out refi, because they're confused on which one they think is more beneficial.
Yeah, and the biggest difference between a HELOC and a first mortgage, besides interest rates, is there's no closing costs on a home equity line of credit. So you don't pay closing costs on that. So that it's like a line. You're getting a line. If you refinance your first mortgage, you're going to incur closing costs. But you have to sit down and really look at the payment to payment. If I just refinance my first mortgage and I raise my rate, what is my total payment? Or if I take a home equity line of credit out and I borrow $100,000 off it, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what your interest rate is, you're paying your mortgage payment at the end of the month.
And then another question that I get is, are you able to take out a HELOC on a property that's already paid off?
Yes, yeah. You can always take out a HELOC. It's even better if it's paid off. Loan you up, they will loan you up to 80% of the value of your home. So if you have a 50% first mortgage, then you can only borrow a 30% second mortgage. If you have a 0% first mortgage, you can borrow an 80% home equity line of credit. So you're only going to be able to go up to 80% of the value of your home on a home equity line of credit, even though it's in second mortgage position. First mortgages, obviously, rates have come down a little bit.
Rates have gotten a lot better. A few months ago, we were looking at rates almost at 8%. Right now, we're looking at a low to mid sixes.
So that being the case, if you have a low mortgage rate now, but you've accrued a lot of debt, and the average credit card rate was in the mid 20s. So if you've accrued a lot of debt and your mortgage rate is 4, and now you're going to 6, it's not that bad if you need to refinance and pay off the debt compared to 20%.
100%, because credit card interest rates are way higher than that, is what people don't want to notice. And even car payments, people say that they don't want to touch their interest rate because it's so low, but they're okay paying 11% on a car payment and paying over $1,000 car note.
And by the way, as far as credit cards go, forget about the average interest rate that's in the 20s. You need to really look at the fine print, because a lot of times you're on an intro offer, or if there's one lane payment, your interest rate goes up and it never comes back down, or after the first year it's a certain level. The thing about credit card companies is that they don't play by the same rules as a mortgage company is going to have to play by. You're going to have a lot more visibility to what your mortgage rate is going to be than a credit card. And the rate can change around a lot. There's all kinds of bells and whistles in there to get it up. I wouldn't suggest carrying a lot of credit card debt if you have equity in your home and you can pay it off.
My client says sometimes you have to look at the bigger picture. Even though the interest rates may be a tad higher than what you had during the pandemic era, you have to look at what your cost is going to be if you're doing a cash out refund.
And again, listen, a low mortgage rate and a low mortgage balance is great to talk around, I guess, the water cooler, if we still use that term, like in the office and brag about. But what we're really trying to push here, and what I've always tried to push in mortgages or real estate, whatever, is that monthly payment is what you have to pay every single month. So however you got to get to a monthly payment that's manageable for you, whether that's combining everything or whatever you need to do to get there, is the most important thing, because at the end of the month, you have that payment, right? So that for your financial well-being, you have to have a payment that's manageable and having a two. Thank you for tuning in. This is homequalified.com. I'm Ralph DiBagnara.
And I'm Kayla Rosario, and I'll leave you guys with the TikTok of the week.
Thank you.